Hi everyone, Lazy Fire here. Welcome back to Hate the Player podcast. This is episode, 36. I actually processed the entire episode with number 37 in mind. I don't know why, but yeah. Anyways,
we're almost due for a midlife crisis.
If you're not having one already, let me tell you about my shower drain and how much hair I pull out of it.
Oh God!
It's all my wife's. But what? She has a lot of hair.
I hope she heard you say that.
Anyways, right now you may notice that there's only one other voice besides my dulcet tones. Yeah, no, good job. And that's Three Toes. He is here. Unfortunately, Arnold is not here because, he's
knee deep in squish.
Oh God! Last night, I didn't get the full story because he was too high on cough syrup to really tell it to us. But he was trying to explain his entire process there, and he then started going, I can't. I'll tell you guys later when I come down. And then he passed out. So it was great.
Yeah, Arnold has a very active dating life. Apparently,
it's weird.
More active than mine, unfortunately.
More active than mine. I did that by choice. So. Yeah. Actually, my wife just left the room. So, let me tell you about all the dates.
Now you can talk about all your girlfriends without worrying about it.
So, now that we're off of Depression Corner, I gotta ask: have you actually played anything? I know you mentioned you got a little bit more time on Unturned. In the last week
Unturned's pretty much all I've been playing. I don't know. I even kind of looked around, what with Gamescom finishing up, figured that maybe there'd be some interesting things to look at that I might want to play, but nothing's really caught my eye. It's kind of that weird, summertime blues to where I don't know. I just want to sit around and beat the heat, and I don't know. There just isn't really anything on my plate that I want to play.
Yeah, and honestly, this summer has been pretty shit for releases. One of the big things I think we have to take away from it is the fact that right now some of the biggest sellers on both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 are remakes of previous games on the last generation consoles. So The Last of Us Remastered or whatever it was is the top selling PS4 game right now, and Metro Last Light Redux and Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Those are the biggest games coming out on those two consoles right now, and PC gaming is not much better. So it's a time to go and revisit your Steam catalog if you have one.
I mean, I never call me old and jaded, but I never really got the point of the Diablo expansions anymore. I don't know. I really don't feel like they ever really add anything all that great with it's just another act that's harder. But
then
I just don't get it.
You get loot. I don't know.
Yeah, because there's a point to that now. Again. Oh wait, no, there isn't.
Yeah, they took away the auction house.
I legit had a friend in college who, back when Diablo 2 was in its heyday, would seriously sell loot on eBay, and that's how he made spending money in college.
Yeah.
Friday or Saturday night, he would just do as many Mephisto runs as he could before passing out at his computer. Get, all the green items he could, all the, finished sets that you couldn't ever find, and just sell them on eBay.
That's great.
And we were all just so amazed, wow, you can fucking sell bits of computer code on eBay? He's like, yeah, it's great. It's I made $50 last night.
Oh my God, that's actually fantastic. I'll take it. Yeah, Diablo and the obsession people have with some of the stuff in those games is just that's beyond me. And Arnold and I actually did quite a bit of Torchlight 2 together for a while, and that's that was made by a bunch of ex-Diablo people, and it's very much a Diablo game. That. It's really good, and I can see where the quest for individual pieces of loot could be really grindy and maybe you would want to spend some money on it, but at the same time, it's like I can't see myself. It's the same thing with Warframe, actually. I cannot see myself buying platinum so I can buy a gun or a Warframe or anything like that when I can just play the game for a really long fucking time and get that stuff unlocked.
Yeah.
You know, it's a free-to-play game. I don't really feel the need to spend money on it.
I mean, honestly, like that's pretty much what I'm doing in Unturned. Like, I'm just walking around looking for loot, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a good gun and trying to find, like, food and water.
You actually had a run-in with some YouTube superstars.
I did, yeah. I got onto Generic B and Paul Soares Jr., both of, Minecraft. Or is Paul Soares Jr. on Minecraft?
Yeah.
Or is he, okay, I couldn't remember if he was with Minecraft or one of the other big Minecraft groups. But they're both, kind of got known through Minecraft Let's Plays. But yeah, they started doing an Unturned series together, and I got access to their server, and was just playing around with them, and got my shit handed to me pretty quickly. It was funny though. Like I was kind of expecting it, and I wasn't gonna go try and wreck their shit, because I figured if they were online, they were probably trying to record an episode. So I'm kind of tooling around the military base, because that's always a smart place to try and find gear when you're just starting out. And I'm saying that kind of half tongue in cheek, because yeah, you can find great stuff at the military base, but also everyone goes to the fucking military base.
Oh yeah.
So, and sure enough, I just thought, oh, there doesn't look to be anyone here. I'll just go running straight through the middle of it, and instantly caught like 2 quick shots to the shoulder. And first one scared the shit out of me, because it didn't hear the shot, because he had a suppressor on his rifle, and they were off up in a hill somewhere. And so I just instantly hear the sound of me getting hit, see blood splatter, and my screen goes black and white, and I'm down to 5% health. So I thought somebody came up and like whacked me with a sledgehammer or something. So I'm just like spinning in circles looking for someone, and then just another shot just comes straight through and knocks me out.
Oh, well.
And I just see all of my gear scattered across the ground. and then fucking Generic was like, "It wasn't me, it was Paul. I told him not to shoot you." It's like already pointing fingers at him.
Oh man. That's one of those fun moments that happens in a game like that, and I'm sure Arnold could pop in with a DayZ thing if he really wanted to.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
Unturned seems like kind of the goofy fun that I like in games like that, rather than the DayZ seems like, okay, you're a super serious Marine tactical man. Now go out there and survive all the zombies. Like, I don't know.
And that's the thing. Like, I think the zombie regen is set on a timer, which is like server side. Like servers can adjust, how quickly both loot and zombies respawn.
Yeah.
And that kind of should have given it away to me, because when I got to the military base, there were no zombies in sight. So clearly someone had been there fairly recently and killed off all the zombies, because it's usually just crawling with them.
Yeah.
Really tough ones too, because they're military zombies wearing body armor.
Yeah, I remember when you took us down there and fired a shot off into the air so you could bring them all out.
Yeah, they just ran a train on us.
That was ugly.
But yeah, no, it's fun. That's the kind of game to where the only time I really get frustrated getting killed in Unturned is when someone's blatantly hacking. And if you want to go watch their Let's Play, it's pretty funny. Just them just kind of dicking around, having fun with the game. But they do actually have some instances where hackers show up on their server. Mainly because it's this is still alpha, I guess you could call it. Maybe you could call it beta, but it's early access, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And they'll manage to kill someone, and instantly on the ground are like 100 MREs, which is like the best food in the game, 100 full health kits, and you can't carry that much stuff. Like there's weight restrictions on your character to how much stuff you can carry. So, like, even if you have enough slots in your backpack to fit all that stuff in it, it still exceeds the weight load that you can carry. So obviously there's people just hacking. And then when they respawn, they'll instantly just teleport right back to where they were, completely kitted up again, and kill the people who killed them.
Yeah.
So that's the only time it gets frustrating. Other than that, yeah, it's just a goofy, like we said last week, Gumby, blockhead, shoot your friends simulator.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, I think, what appealed to me about it in the first place. But, I was waiting for you to get back on at a time I was on so I could go back into it. Because it really feels like one of those things that you go and do with friends rather than, like, I'm going to jump in here and have a good time on this server. No.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to go through the frustrating of finding each other, meeting up, and then kidding out, and then fucking destroying some punk-ass bitch. You think he's got it good.
And I'm sure that's the same way with DayZ. Like, I couldn't, even if I decided to get into DayZ, I would never play it alone. That would just be kind of boring. Like, I'd want to get on a server with some people and just, completely not take it seriously and just dick around.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing. Like, people who take games, I don't know, a little bit too seriously about some of this stuff, and, like, I have to play this, and, like, I've mentioned this before, I fucking hate people who can only ever min-max games. They can't just go in and have fun with it. It has to be like, I don't want to use this thing unless it's the most overpowered piece of shit in the game. Therefore, and Unturned and a few other games seem like they've kind of walked around that edge by not really... Like, the guns have definite downsides until you have a suppressor on them. And things like cars and stuff, like, you can't run over animals with cars. Which was,
well, no, you can.
Oh,
it's just, I think that server was kind of buggy on us when we did.
Yeah.
When we tried it. And on that same topic, going back to, like, Diablo, that's one thing that kind of turned me off of Diablo 2 back in the day. It's that, same buddy in college, obviously, because he was, doing it as a business. Like, he'd look at my character and he'd be like, oh, you might as well just start over. You've already screwed up your skill tree. I was like, why? He's like, oh, well, you'll never do max damage with this, this, and this. Like, you need to put all those points into that. You can't do that now, so you might as well just start over. I'm like, no. Like, I don't care. I did it because I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of stupid, like, gimmick builds you can do in Diablo games. There was an LP of somebody who did Necro only, and all he would ever do is he would never directly confront any enemies. He would only raise skeletons. And so he actually went through only raising skeletons out of corpses and shit. And then, like, as more corpses littered the ground, he'd raise new skeletons and, like, continue on. And keep putting points into the tree that allowed him to raise, like, different creatures from corpses of other creatures.
See, I think that's hilarious.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that you can do. It's the same thing with people who do... you ever see Lobos Jr. gaming on YouTube?
No.
He does a lot of Dark Souls. And he streams everything. And it's almost really annoying to look at his stream because he just takes the... But he has all these overlays and shit, including a face cam, and his Twitch chat is in the right corner, and at the bottom it's like YouTube and Twitch and Twitter information and all this shit. So he's like, half his screen is taken up by, like, useless information. But,
the old Fox News approach.
Yeah. Oh God, I have a story for offline about Fox News. Let's just say the most ill-informed member of my office staff decided Friday to start praising Fox News as why she knew so much about current events.
Oh God,
that's how I knew I was wrong about listening to her about anything. Anyways, this guy Lobos Jr. does primarily Dark Souls runs, and he used to do, like, all these gimmick runs and speed runs and everything like that, where he'd just go through the game as fast as possible with, like, nothing but shields, or, only pyromancy, or just fist, or whatever it is. And he did these crazy things, like 2 hours in the game total, or he did a no bonfire, no resting at bonfires run. And that's insane in Dark Souls, because if you die, you have to run all the way back to where the guy killed you. And he did that. There's some crazy shit. No healing was actually part of it, so he wasn't able to use Estus flasks at all to regain health. So the guy was absolutely insane. It was amazing to watch him do it. But, like, if you weren't really good at the game, and this is the point I was originally trying to make, you wouldn't be able to do that. So you'd have to spend a lot of time in the game to sort of figure out, like, okay, this is how I do it with no shield. This is how I do just this thing as a gimmick run. And I think that's, like, the sign of a good game in general, is if you have the ability to go and do some stupid shit with it. And, yeah, you can break it in certain ways, but you have to have skill to break it that way.
And see, along those same lines, that's part of, why I like Battlefield 3 so much.
Yeah.
Like, I love the MP7, and by all accounts, it was a shitty gun.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it worked really well for me. I think I had more service stars with the MP7 than any other rifle, or any other gun. Just because it just suited my run and gun, like an idiot, rush into everywhere kind of play style.
Yeah.
Because it was really weak, but it had a really high rate of fire, and you just catch people off guard with it. You don't even have to aim down sight up that close, so
yeah,
it was great.
Yeah,
but yeah, I loved how there was no one, after a few patches, of course, that there was no one gun that you pretty much had to use if you wanted to do well. Pre-patches, obviously the 416, even after the patches, was kind of like the one gun that everyone could do well with, but not like Call of Duty Black Ops with the FAMAS.
Yeah, and luckily that mostly translated over to Battlefield 4 for the most part. I think there's some guns, like the M16 and the AEK or AN91 or whatever the fuck it was in Battlefield 3, where it's like every third death you had was to that gun.
Yeah.
In Battlefield 4, that's toned down quite a bit, except for the Ace series of weapons. There's like the Ace 52 and the Ace CQB and all this other crap that's like everyone uses that. And then this other gun, the Bulldog, that came out in one of the expansion packs, is like the gun I see everywhere now. And if you get killed by an LMG, it's most likely the AWS. But the problem with like taking that confirmation bias and saying, well, those guns are clearly overpowered, is that I still go out and I have a better ratio or a better number of kills than those people using those weapons, using like the PKP or the RPK-12 or something like that, and not sticking to only the good gun or whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's still a game where you can do that. I think Call of Duty falls into this trap where I think it's partially the ballistic system in Battlefield that allows it to kind of break out of the trap that Call of Duty has, where it's like, okay, you have a FAMAS and it's got all these stats. Like, the traditional balance in any FPS game with like damage, rate of fire, and accuracy, right? It's that Trinity effect it has.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a high rate of fire, you're going to have low damage and your accuracy is going to be less. If you have a high rate of fire, you're going to have, or if you have a high damage, you're going to have a slow rate of fire, but your accuracy is going to be a little bit better. And right down the line with your assault rifles and SMGs and everything, right? And in Battlefield, that is still sort of the balance, but they still have things like bullet drop and your shot distance matters a little bit more in Battlefield than it does in Call of Duty and all this other stuff. So it's not like there's any one super weapon, because you can still futz with the ballistics a little bit.
Yeah.
But hey, that's just how I see it sometimes. So have you really touched anything else? I know Unturned was your big thing.
No, not really. I wish I had something more to add to that, but I haven't even really found that many good Let's Plays to watch either, other than the fucking Kim Kardashian Hollywood Let's Play that I'm watching.
Oh God.
It's it's funny because it's obviously tongue in cheek. This 30-something-year-old man playing a game meant for teenagers, which is very interesting because there are some kind of suggestive themes in that game, like getting a contract with a vodka company
Yeah. God.
But it's pretty funny, man.
Yeah, hey, I'm glad. It's someone's got to get some fun out of that. That isn't.
Well, it's the probably the funniest thing I saw in this Let's Play was, okay, so it's one of those things where it's, free to play, not necessarily pay to win, but definitely pay to do things a lot quicker and a lot easier.
Yeah.
So, doing stuff throughout the game, you earn money and prestige and these little it's generic B playing it too. He calls them like Kardashian bucks, like Kim bucks, to where these little silver stars with a K on it, and you get those like very, very rarely. But to get like the best stuff in the game, you need an ungodly amount of like the Kim bucks,
right? The
to
platinum,
get anywhere.
The platinum any other game would give you, or something.
Yeah, pretty exactly.
Diamonds or rubies.
Yeah,
or
they
something.
pretty much look like platinum. So at one point he's like, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but for the sake of this Let's Play, just to move things along, he goes into the game store and pays $100 American to get like 1,250 Kim bucks.
Oh my god!
He's like, I'm literally about to spend $100 on this Kim Kardashian game. It was fucking hilarious though, because he knew how ridiculous that whole situation was.
That's I have to imagine a lot of smart people are actually stuck in that situation where they're like, I want to keep playing this.
Yeah, and at the same time he's like, please don't do this if you play this game. He's like, please don't spend $100 on this game. I am doing this for you.
Oh god. Oh Jesus Christ. I can't condone that.
Yeah. Like even the fact that they're like, I can understand, that whole system where like, oh, you can buy this many for $5. Oh, but you get this many for $10. Oh, and this many for $20.
Ooh.
Like $20 to $50 is as much as any of those systems need to go. Like there should never be a $100 option for shit like that.
No, and that's unfortunately the state of mobile gaming. If you really want to bemoan the state of mobile gaming as much as you can, but everything's free to play unless you're like, pay $2.99 for this thing and we won't charge you in the future. But it's free to play, and then it has like a store where you can buy this thing or that thing or whatever it is. And I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but when Plants vs. Zombies 2 launched, if you wanted to buy some, like, basically that game's version of Platinum or Rubies or whatever the fuck it was, you could actually go in and there was a thing that said best deal on the biggest package, which was like $100, you get 1,000 of them. And if you actually added up like the box of 10 and just bought 1,000 through the box of 10, you'd actually pay like $5 less. And it's, they really market this stuff to people who are not paying attention, and that's why there's lawsuits by parents against mobile gaming companies for basically letting their kids buy this shit and not locking it behind something. But hey, that's how Kim Kardashian's mobile gaming empire makes like a couple $100 million a day.
Yeah,
that's insane. That's too much money for what that game is.
Yeah,
people are too stupid to live. How do you function in normal society if you're giving that game that much money? If you're like, can you imagine working at one of these companies that makes these mobile games, and then you just hit it rich all of a sudden, and Zynga's like ripping you off, and right after that you're like, oh holy shit, I just made like millions and millions of dollars off of this like 20-minute investment. This is fantastic. Like that company King that made Candy Crush. Are you familiar with all the crap that happened behind the scenes there?
You mean how they like completely ripped off like indie developer for that game?
They ripped off a guy who made it in honor of his mother.
Yeah.
Who they then sued him to change the name of his game because it had candy in it. And then he documented all the ways that it was basically identical to his game. And then he pointed out that he ripped off fucking Peggle to make his game because that's what his mother really loved. So he decided to make a Peggle game in her memory. And it's like, listen, you guys are making these fucking lineup 3 of the same things for years and years and years. You don't deserve any extra money for this. Someone should go find the original person who made that game and fucking give them all your money. Like, let's face it, all you're doing is putting a new coat of paint on this thing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, pretty much every little Facebook game that's come out since Candy Crush is just exactly Candy Crush, but with different things.
Or like the flood of imitators that happen upon the market anytime something hits a big. Flappy Bird being the latest.
Farmville.
Oh, Farmville. Well, Farmville was like ripped off by Zynga of a game called Farm Life. But yeah, there were like, this is the thing. This is why Zynga has so many problems, is because they just basically go in and find a game that was popular and use their clout to get more attention and everything like that. And actually, it's funny to watch them die on the vine, basically, because Facebook gaming has become such a non-factor, and mobile gaming has taken it over, and they didn't have a really good mobile presence for a long time. And then they spent money on things like Just Draw, or whatever the fuck it was. They bought the Pictionary ripoff game, and they bought the Scrabble ripoff game. What were those?
Oh,
two?
Words with Friends?
Words with Friends. They bought the company that made that because, obviously, talking to Milton Bradley about getting an official Scrabble app is too hard. And then they bought Draw Something, which is just Pictionary.
Yeah.
You could actually go... This is... I can't speak it now because it's just absolutely too stupid to fucking believe. You can go to a Walmart right now. Just go and do... Don't physically do this and go to a Walmart. Don't. You're probably listening to this at like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Don't go there at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. It's like basically asking for a reason for genocide. But listen, kill all whites. But you go there at a normal approved time where you will not want to kill everyone around you, and go to the game section. I will guarantee you, goddamn key you, there will not be a fucking Scrabble board to be found, but there will be a Words with Friend board. There are Words with Friends board games.
That's ridiculous.
I don't even know. I can't. People are fucking stupid. So we spent.
It's crazy to think that a simple, like, not even 5 years ago, if you would have gone to a group of friends and be like, hey, I'm thinking about investing in this thing that's a rebranding of Scrabble. People would have thought you were fucking insane.
Yeah.
It's like, no, why would you waste your money in that?
Yeah, of
and that's all it is. They rebranded one of the most boring board games on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Like shit that you play to get ready for the SATs. That's the only time I have ever seriously played Scrabble.
Yeah. It's, how do you do that? Like, how do you? I think it's just the social aspect of it. Like, hey, I can play with my college roommate.
And don't get me wrong. I played the shit out of Words with Friends on Facebook, years ago.
Yeah, right.
But
I can't understand the people who are going out and buying a Words with Friends board game. Maybe they're doing it for irony's sake, because I know irony is not quite yet
think
died.
They're that smart.
I don't think irony's quite died because they made that thing, and maybe there's a chance that it was made ironically. But I don't think that's the case. So I wanted to launch into one more thing. I don't think it really warrants a lot of words, but the internet has thought otherwise. Have you seen anything of the Zoe Quinn drama, as it were?
Oh yeah, it's the chick game blogger journalist who completely dicked over her boyfriend or whatever, and yet he still tried to get back with her several times.
Yeah, that kind of brings it down a couple levels, I guess. So basically,
she fucked a bunch of dudes while she was dating this guy, yet he still tried to get things to work out.
Well, he's a social justice warrior. They both are. let's make fun of that first, because the fact of the matter is that his giant fuck all blog where he posted about this shit and like
Oh
detailed
yeah, I
it
read
to,
the entire thing.
it,
Yeah.
like he talked about how it's like, well, we're both social justice warriors. Oh, you're useless fuckers. Okay, fantastic. Let's go from there. But so the whole thing is basically Zoe Quinn is a game developer who worked on a game called Depression Quest, and it got pretty okay reviews. It went on Steam. I think it was Steam Greenlight. It's like a free-to-play game, so it doesn't even matter. And people are like, okay, Zoe Quinn's a person, and Giant Bomb's Patrick Klepek thinks that she's, Jesus, and had her. They did a panel together at PAX that was something like, is it don't feed the trolls, how to win on the internet, or something like that, about how people are mean on the internet and you should ignore them. And it's a good idea, Patrick. Just keep doing that, and I'm sure your writing is going to get better and actually interesting at some point. But what went down here is that it came to light through her ex-boyfriend that Zoe Quinn had affairs with members of Kotaku's staff. And these are people who would have to go and write about her game, and one of them actually was on a panel or something like that at something, and she won an award there. So there are a lot of people who are like, oh, clearly she slept with them for good reviews and blah blah blah. But the picture her boyfriend paints of her, while not flattering, doesn't indicate that that was anywhere near the reason why she did it. But people are jumping to these insane conclusions, and I think that's the bigger story, is that, like, yes, these people that she slept with were in the video game industry, and they would have to handle her game at some point. I think there are two things that came out of this. One, Kotaku is a shitty fucking place, and anything you read there probably shouldn't be trusted, because they're Kotaku, and they're all anime nerds.
Yeah.
But on top of that, they also never felt the need to disclose, by the way, our writers have relationships, and this is true of all video game journalism groups. Writers at these companies have relationships with video game developers, and they never need to disclose this stuff because, personal relationships are being what they are. It's not always necessary. But this is a case where, this might go beyond what normal relationships within the video game industry between developers and writers are. And so Kotaku not mentioning anything about this or staying completely silent on the topic is kind of shitty on their end. The other half of it is that I think the internet gets dumber every year, and they can't just see, oh, she cheated on her boyfriend, she's probably not a great person, and move on. They have to have this fucking conversation about, oh, well, clearly she did it for review scores. Like I said, one of the guys never really wrote anything but one article about her game, never reviewed it. Yeah. And the other guy did it, was there at a competition for indie games or whatever it was. So I don't really think that there's any sort of clearly her influence over them via sex is the reason why she got reviews or something like that. I think it's an undisclosed personal relationship that's...
I think she just likes to bone.
Yeah, that can happen too. But I was looking at it from the video game standpoint, which is yeah, personal relationships exist within video game companies of one nature and another. It happens in every industry you can think of. We should probably ask for better ethics from the people writing about video games. That doesn't seem like it's too far from what we could do here. But some people want to make this all about her being a terrible person and how Depression Quest was clearly only favored by critics because she had sex with them.
I mean, she may be a terrible... Oh, who the fuck is this?
Someone that the people listening to this can't hear.
I started Audacity and all that.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't fucking sync with you.
What a fucking coincidence that Arnold comes into the conversation right when we're talking about boning.
exponing.
But no, I mean, she may be a terrible person, but just for the fact that she's been like cheating on her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think that's where the conversation on her end of things starts and begins and ends.
And he's a fucking pussy for not like just ending it right there.
Oh yeah, the fact that
when she cheated on him, like he's paints this whole sob story. It's like, oh, I really felt for her, like I want to try and work things out. I was like, that's all well and good. I've known several couples who've gone through infidelity issues, like infidelity issues, and managed to make their relationship work. Not when they've fucked at least 5 or 6 people without you knowing about it, and then you still take them back after each and every time. Like, no, that's not a healthy relationship. Like, dude should have just gotten out of there immediately.
Yeah, well, if you're a moron, it's really hard to know when to stop. It's definitely on this guy for being a fucking idiot about this whole thing, and the way he went out and did this was absolutely fucking classless. You don't throw someone else's business out there like that. That's absolutely stupid. He should have kept this a personal issue. He didn't have to make this about specific people in the public eye at all. But the fact that he did indicates to me that maybe we should ask for a bit better from people who write about video games than what we have now. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I think we can ask for a better standard of writer than the average person at Kotaku. Can we not? Is that a bad thing?
I mean that's a fair statement, but realistically, is it going to happen?
No.
I mean, it's a problem in all like journalism these days.
Oh yeah,
really? Yeah,
yeah. It definitely is, because you have people who just basically reprint press releases.
You've got this guy from Huffington. I think it was from Huffington, who was out at the Ferguson riots, tweeting out pictures of foam earplugs saying, "I believe these are rubber bullets. Can anyone confirm?"
Oh god!
Like, did you fucking see that?
Yeah. Was he the same guy who got arrested in the McDonald's?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're not sending out the war correspondents. Frank West is not there, but
I've covered wars,
Yeah, like in Ferguson, Missouri. But yeah, the whole thing with Ferguson and like the journalists, they have like fucking people from Sports Illustrated there because they're going to cover like the Ferguson riots and how it's affecting a high school team. It's like, hey, maybe you don't need to be there. Maybe you being there is going to be part of this problem if you like show up and make a big deal about it. Maybe consider that before you do these things. But that's not on video games anymore, and we veer into political territory, which I've already dipped my toe into earlier.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much all media at this point. Like, it reminds me, it wasn't Katrina, but it was one of the storms following, to where they tried to paint it to look a whole lot worse than it was. Like, a reporter was sitting reporting from like a canoe.
Oh, yeah.
But then, like, you can see in the background, people are just walking through the water, like it was no more than like shin depth. But they were trying to make it look like the entire city was flooded.
Oh, is that Rita?
It might have been, yeah.
I just, up here, we didn't have any coverage of the storms that hit us, because when Sandy came through a couple of years ago, it just completely blew out everything, and I guess maybe the national media was around. We don't know about that yet. It's been 2 years. So, can you guys tell us how they covered Sandy?
I just remember everyone in the South, like, I know like a lot of people like lost their homes and even some lives during Sandy, but down in the South on the East Coast, we found it pretty funny at how y'all reacted to a Category 1 hurricane. It's kind of like how y'all react when we get an inch of snow.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty hilarious to see y'all flip your shit over a small storm like that.
Well, the small storm that knocked out power to most of my state.
and that's the same thing when we get snow. It's we don't have the infrastructure to handle snow. You don't have the infrastructure to handle hurricanes. So
we generally do get hurricanes up here every now and again. It was just like we're going off into emergency planning and everything. The funny thing about that is we have a conglomerate.
This podcast brought to you by FEMA.
Yeah. we have a conglomerate that handles like basically all the power in the state, except for the area I live in, and a few other municipal areas, and one other area that's covered by another company, right? But they run most of the state, and the state government, right after Sandy came through, basically ordered them to actually do maintenance on the trees and the roads, so there wouldn't be trees falling down on every power line in the fucking state, because they'd basically taken that out of their budget years ago, and no one called them on it. And the second they started to do it, municipalities started suing them to stop them from cutting trees down. It's like, do you not fucking remember the last hurricane, you idiots? Let them take down the fucking new growth trees. It doesn't matter. They're not the rainforest. But, you know, that's just how that works right now. It's stupidity and people not paying attention to shit, and that's how the media works too. It's stupidity and people not paying attention to shit. Maybe Don Lemon getting yelled at by a rapper, who knows? Good times. CNN's been fun to watch.
There was that other CNN reporter who got into it with someone because the guy from CNN had no idea what an automatic weapon
that was. Don Lemon. That was the exact incident I was talking about.
Okay.
I think that's another problem that goes across all journalism. If you're covering something, you might want to have a basic understanding of what the fuck you're talking about.
He was like, I can go out and buy a fully automatic weapon right now. It's like, no, you can't.
Yeah,
that shit wasn't registered any fucking way.
I mean, if you're in Afghanistan, maybe.
Yeah, you can get I think an AK in Africa is like $25 American.
Yeah, they use them as
or
shoes.
A sandwich.
A bowl of medicine. Oh.
Too soon?
No. By the time this podcast goes up, it won't even be a thing anymore. It's fine. We'll be worried more about the ice bucket challenge and its effect on America.
Oh God, I gotta find a link for you guys.
Well, Three Toes, you participated.
Yeah, I did.
In that.
I did mine yesterday. Just because I got called out by a few people. I kind of took a different approach to mine in more ways than one. So instead of just dumping an ice bucket on my head, I have a 200-gallon inflatable. I mean, you could call it a kiddie pool, but it's had nothing but adults in it. So I filled that up with ice water and kind of did like a trust fall into the back of it. And I know everyone's getting sick of the ice bucket videos. Like, yeah, it's you know, it's promoting a good cause. It's drawing attention to it. But I know, you know, when stuff gets incredibly viral, it starts to get pretty annoying. So when I did the challenge, instead of, you know, because everyone like, oh, you name 3 people and then they have 24 hours to do it too. I didn't name anyone. I pretty much said, you know, at this point, everyone knows about it. If you want to get involved with a charity, get involved. You shouldn't have to wait to be quote unquote challenged to donate to a charity. So if you want to do it, do it. Don't, you know, I hate to break the chain and everything, but that's how it should be. If you want to get involved with a charity, get involved. Don't feel like you have to wait for your little 15 minutes of fame on social media. So.
Yeah, and I think that's the aspect of it that bugs me a lot. Is that isn't the challenge supposed to be you either pay the money to the foundation or you dump the ice bucket over your head?
Initially, yes, but see,
no, that's what people do now.
Initially, yes, it was one or the other, but no one has done that. Everyone has either just donated or dumped and donated. Like, very few people are like, whoa, phew, I'm not going to donate now because I just took some cold water to my head. Like, no, most people, at least in my circle of friends, will dump and donate, if not just donate. But no one I've seen is like completely skipped out on the donation.
Yeah,
because I mean, yeah, I'm going to donate $100 as well. You know, I didn't get out of it just by falling backwards into a kiddie pool full of ice water.
Darn, I would have been my way out. It's one of those things that I understand it's a good cause. fucking, instead of having to be pressured by social media to do good things, shouldn't people do good things on their own? This is like, you ever hear the argument people give, like, well, if you don't have religion, how do you know right from wrong?
Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah.
If I don't have social media, how I know what I'm supposed to donate to this month? Like, just be a good person. How fucking hard is that?
Yeah, and in like all truth, like it's still fun in a sense, to get quote unquote challenged by your friends. But I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like it's still. I hate to use the term fun to draw attention to Lou Gehrig's disease, but it was. I mean, it was fun to get challenged or whatever. But no one who feels that strongly about a charity should have to be challenged.
Yeah,
like they shouldn't be peer pressured into donating.
Well, I think it and I know I'm cynical as shit, but I think it does two things that are actually pretty good. One, it does raise money for the charity, and not an insignificant amount. It's $200 million now. So, like, a day in Kim Kardashian's life from her fucking Facebook game. But the second half of it is that I don't think a lot of people know what the fuck ALS is, or they don't think about it on the regular.
Yeah, it's a pretty fucking depressing disease.
Yeah, it's kind of like MS.
Kind of. In IRL, I work in a pharmacy, and I've lost a couple patients to it, and it is probably the saddest thing to watch. You'll start out; they'll start out, they'll be just normal, and over the course of a year or two, they slowly lose nerve function, and towards the end, they look catatonic. But the thing is, they're still there inside. Yeah. They just can't do anything. They can't control their bowels. They can't do anything. It is one of the most terrifyingly depressing things I've ever seen. And in the end, they end up suffocating because they lose control of their lungs.
Yeah. So
ALS, yay!
Yeah, most people don't know what the fuck it is. So it's actually helping quite a bit because it's, hey, here's an awareness campaign and also donation campaign. And I'm sure that it's also helped raise a lot of money, not just from somebody putting money into the Ice Bucket Challenge Fund, but people also going out and donating on top of that to various research groups. And I think that's great. That's exactly what you want to see out of a social media campaign. I don't think it has to be so to the point where a fucking former president of the United States actually gets waterboarded, but...
Wait, did that happen?
Yeah, George Bush took the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Dick Cheney held him down on a flat plywood sheet.
That's saline solution, George. It's fine.
I actually just saw an image macro of Dick Cheney with the words, "was dumping water on people before it was cool."
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one where the fucking weirdness of George Bush, a man who was president while we were waterboarding certain subjects in Guantanamo Bay and other places.
I'm just surprised he knew how to use the internet.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he has some aide who barely understands it. Like
his daughter.
George, come here quick! People are dumping buckets of water on their head. It must be popular now. You should get out there and capitalize on this.
Hell, it's a hot Texas day. I'll dump some water on my head.
Hey, woo. Yeah. What the hell do you do except for stay out of the public spotlight?
Support ALS. I've always been a bigger fan of the National League.
Oh no.
Was he owner of the Texas Rangers at one point?
He was. He put together a whole group of people to buy the Texas... Oh, no. Yeah, it was the Texas Rangers. And they did great under his leadership. Don't look other way. Don't worry about it. Just like the state of Texas. Rick Perry got arrested. So that's good for him. That's a step in the right direction.
What did he get arrested for?
It was basically an abuse of power charge. Like, he basically went out of his way to make sure that somebody could not do their job or take their job or something of that nature. I need to read the documents again. But it might not actually be a really big deal, but all the people who reviewed the charge against him are registered Republicans, and they still let it go through. So it might not be that good for him. But, he wasn't running for re-election, so he's going to use his campaign war chest to go and fight the charges. So we
yeah, because that should be allowed.
Yeah, of course. So we're now at an hour mark. I think we've had a good conversation about a bunch of shit that didn't need to be talked about.
One quick thing I want to bring up, and not to stay on the depressing note, but I just saw that Richard Attenborough died today.
90 years old?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just get some DNA.
Also, I didn't realize that David Attenborough was his brother, like
yes.
the BBC documentary guy.
Yeah. So we'll just wait 65 million years, get some amber.
Fucking bring him back.
You could be in one movie I remember.
Somebody start splicing the DNA from female frogs, and let's fucking bring Richard Attenborough back.
Life always finds a way.
Indeed it does.
Thanks, Jeff.
What? Oh, yeah, Goldblum. Thanks.
Yep.
It took me a minute. I was like, that... What? I've definitely let my actual name out quite a few times. So, yeah, anything else you guys wanted to discuss? Arnold, you and I played Warframe last night. You were robo-tripping as shit. We're going to talk about that after this.
Oh, yeah, no, I was... yeah, I don't really remember a whole lot of that.
Was it all dubstep in your mind? Like, every time you try to access those memories, it's like, whoa!
It's a good thing that I don't have the kids, because I feel like I'd be the worst parent in the world as far as the drug talk. Well, you see, kids, drugs are pretty fucking sweet. You just can't do them too much or let it become a problem. But I mean, if you don't have anything to do on a Saturday night, hey, go ham.
Let me prescribe you something, since I work in a pharmacy.
Yeah. That may or may not be how that worked out. But yeah, it's I would imagine the way you were talking. I imagine it's like that time I took way too many allergy pills.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I was just spaced the fuck out.
And then I tried to saw through a plate when I was trying to cut a pancake, but lost my ability to pay attention. That was a fun day. It was a good Tuesday afternoon. I got to tell you what.
And you know what? Like, I was at my house, and then I woke up this morning.
At your house?
No.
What?
Nope. I woke up at my friend that's a girl's house.
Oh, yes. Okay, we're going to pussyfoot around that one. We'll talk about that offline.
Yeah.
Because you owe me a story for that.
We should charge like a pay per listen service to the after show with all of Arnold's sordid details of his sex life.
The premium cast.
Sign up for Hate the Player Premium and hear more about Arnold's sexcapades.
If you want to see Hate the Player Premium,
Arnold goes in a drug-fueled sex rampage.
It's like
I'm fucking you. Yeah.
Hotline Miami's gone wrong.
Who's ready to get fucked?
I'm coming.
When I work out, it's like I'm coming.
Oh God! Let's never talk about this again.
Ever.
Let's pretend this didn't help. Let's cut this last 45 seconds from the podcast.
Yep.
Nope.
That would take effort.
Well, Arnold, thank you for joining us as late as you did. Stick around for a moment. Don't stop that recording.
Stick around.
Yeah, stick around, Bennett.
Let's
play some steam, Bennett. And, who do you say stick around to?
The guy who
Yeah, the knife gun.
Yeah.
The dude in the fucking chainmail tank top.
Yeah. Commando was the
you
best.
Know what?
His garden shed had a keep out on it, and it was filled with guns. the
We all
fuck,
need to
Commando?
we all need to watch Commando together and comment on that.
Dude, I fucking love Commando.
Commando. Yes. So yeah, thanks for.
Also, just real quick, by the time this airs, the college football season will be back. So
Woo!
Roll Tide.
Roll fucking Tide. Woo! Razorbacks. No wait, different team.
Ready.
Yeah, don't stop recording quite yet, guys. But
I know.
thanks for calling in late, Arnold. I know that you had other matters to attend to.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
your attendance
Basically
is
forgot what day it is.
It's okay. I got stuck at my wife's family's house for like an extra 2 hours because, man, this should be really offline. But our wedding photographer emailed my wife and I our pictures, and then we forwarded it on to both of our mothers, and neither of them know how to access internet. And like, and so my wife's father just found out that there were albums and pictures that they had to order from by Wednesday, and he's freaking out. So he had to spend 2 hours calming him down. But yeah, anyways, the fun. Don't ever get married. Anyways,
Good call. Good advice. Thanks.
yeah, good
Where
job.
were you a few years ago?
Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah, good night. Bye.
Born ready.